This video is making the rounds because of the despicable, racist actions of a few people waiting a team bus. In the country of China, former Arkansas Razorback standout and ex-Nuggets, Suns, Raptors, and Sixers man Sonny Weems was greeted by racial slurs after walking off the team bus. The fans repeatedly shouted the N-word at Weems and told him to get the F out of China. The racists laugh as Weems exits the screen. Weems has been doing great things during his tenure in the Chinese Basketball Association. To see this happen is heartbreaking. In the video, the 35-year-old athlete appears to flash a smile at the angry fans, prompting one of them to say, "Don't you give me a smile," in Mandarin. Several giggles can be heard as Weems silently walks off. In a statement on Friday, the CBA said it has a zero-tolerance attitude toward any discriminatory words or deeds, and in an open letter to fans, asked them not to engage in uncivilized behavior and vulgar words. Whether on or off the field, fans should watch the game in a civilized manner, respect each other, do not do anything that damages the reputation of the team, reads the letter. Both teams also condemned the behavior of the fans, with the Flying Leopards saying the words seriously hurt the Guangdong team and damaged the image of the league and fans. The association also wrote an open letter to basketball fans asking them to follow public order and good customs and resist vulgar words and deeds ahead of the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics. It's not immediately clear why the fans in the video shouted at Weems. He and Han Dejon, a player for the Liaoning Flying Leopards, clashed near the Southern Tigers bench on Thursday after Han fell to the floor guarding a drive from Weems in the third quarter, reported local media. While the ref watched a video replay to check for fouls, Han approached the Guangdong bench and punched Weems, who retaliated. The outlet reported that both players were sent off the court after being separated by the ref and their teammates. Per local media in Beijing, Han was suspended for 7 games and fined over $31,000, while Weems was given a 5-game suspension and fined over $22,000. A 1-game automatic suspension has been into account as they were ejected after the clash. Video replay showed that as Weems attacked the basket, his right shoulder hit Han's face. Liaoning head coach Yang Ming confirmed at a post-game presser that Han had suffered a broken nose. Taiwanese-American basketball player Jeremy Lin offered Weems his support via social media, writing on his Weibo page, "The abuse Weems received really was disrespectful. That word carried so much hurt, unfairness, and hatred that I couldn't put into words." On Weems' Weibo, fans also left messages of support. "Peace and love, we will always be behind you," said one, while another wrote, "I'm sorry, are you all right now? We always support you and stay here with you." On Monday, former NBA star Yao Ming, now president of the CBA, spoke of the importance for sports to build bridges between communities. "There's bound to be traffic on bridges, so sometimes we see collisions. It may take some time to resolve some issues, but we want to keep the bridges intact." The shooting guard and small forward spoke out in the past against hateful behavior toward Asians, tweeting his condolences to all my Asian brothers and sisters in 2021. However, China's racism has been on full display. Chinese state broadcaster CCTV featured blackface performers in its New Year's Gala, an annual variety show that is reported to be the most watched television event in the world. Last April, wrote Human Rights Watch, authorities in the southern city of Guangzhou, which has China's largest African community, launched a campaign to forcibly test Africans in the city for COVID and ordered them to self-isolate or quarantine in designated hotels. Landlords evicted African residents, forcing many to sleep on the street, in hotels, or in shops. Some restaurants refused to serve black customers. CNN interviewed more than 24 Africans living in Guangzhou, many of whom told of the same experiences: being left without a home, being subject to random testing for COVID, and being quarantined for 14 days in their homes despite having no symptoms or contact with known patients. But the Chinese government denied that the authorities' conduct was discriminatory and blamed Western media for provoking the problems between China and African countries. CNN even reached out to 12 hotels in Guangzhou wanting to book a room for an African guest and was informed by 10 that they would not be accepting foreign guests anymore. For those who think the official line from Beijing is bad, check out the Chinese internet, where the rampant racism against black people is often too appalling to repeat. The use of racial slurs is ubiquitous on social media discussions about black people. People of African descent living in China are often depicted as overstaying visas, not paying taxes, and encroaching on Chinese culture. African migrants, as well as African Chinese intermarriages, are commonly described as spelling doom for the Chinese race. In a China where the birth rate is gradually decreasing due to family planning policies, meaning the one-child policy in the past and the two-child policy of the present, not too many years later, China will become a country with a black and foreign Muslim majority, lamented one person on the Chinese social media platform Weibo. In other instances, some Chinese women in relationships with black men were doxxed and vilified. The Chinese government and social media companies occasionally censor online hate speech, and some users have been warned by the authorities to stop their racist rhetoric. But Beijing largely has itself to blame for the persistence of online racial hate. It is the result of decades of severe repression of any discussion or activism that promotes the ideas of racial and ethnic equality and human rights, combined with ever-increasing nationalistic and chauvinist propaganda from the government.